connect to the cloud server. It has started recording. The thing is, okay. So we have seen the Wohentage and all of that is over. And today we will just see some questions that we might even ask them. Yeah. So it's not just things that we can answer. Now, sich vorstellen, for instance, I would say, ich heiße Karpagam, ich bin 36 Jahre alt, ich bin verheiratet, ich habe zwei Kinder. Und ich bin Lehrerin von Beruf und ich spreche English, Tamil und Deutsch. So these are basic answers or introduction that you give for yourself. But how do we even question this is something that we need to learn. We will also learn about all the W questions we say. When, why, what. In English, there is only how with, with an H. Otherwise, it is all W questions. Here as well in German, everything is a W question. Was means what, when means wann means when, and then we have we is how. So all the question form we will see. So the start of it, I just like how we have really learned. We heißen sie, we heiß du. So there are two ways of even like doing, the German way. We say with respect, and it's not without respect, but a very peer to peer. When I want to ask a child, a small child, his name, then I would ask him, "Wie heißt du?" Wie heißt du? Heist comes from the verb, if you remember, it comes from the verb heißen, which means to be called. Yeah. And we heißen sie is a formal way. So there is a very clear distinction where one side you see when you want to call a small child or maybe your own sibling or I would say your friends, your cousins, all that is like in Tamil we say hey da, we say no da, da and d we say. We can't like call somebody on the street, hey inge vada means like inge va and the madri. We can't like call them without respect. In India we do have that as well, so it's very very easy for us to relate to what I'm trying to tell you right here. There is a respectful
Hello,
form. Yeah.
ma'am. Excuse me. We can't able to see your face. Light is coming from backside.
Okay, now
Okay,
is
okay.
that clear?
It's okay.
Yeah.
Fine,
Yeah.
fine.
So it is also that it is very important to just know the formal way, the informal way, we call it. The formal way is something like, I would say, with respect, höflich, we say of Deutsch. So, wie heißen Sie is how are you called? But this you in German is very, very different. I can just like say in English, it's the most simplest form where you say you is just you, regardless of the age, the whatever you want to say, it's like nothing. But in German, the same you is taken into three forms, and you can draw this in your note for your reference because you need to know this. It's the basic of German, and it would be good if you could actually note it down in your notes somewhere. And I would say this, I can change it to you, and here it's English. You can be seen in three different forms in German, which is du, is singular. Singular means singular. Yeah. singular. The same spelling with singular, but we say it as singular because sound has to come when it is s. Singular, and then this is informal. Yeah, and when it comes to the other u, we call it as z with a capital S, which means it's also singular and it is formal way of calling people. Huh? Yeah. And there is another way where we say ear, which is plural. Yeah. And plural is like I can just like write down right here when I say two people. That's all. Yeah. Ear or two more, two plus, I would say. Two plus, and then you have here also it is like we don't have to really use formal or informal. It's okay if at all you know this is enough. So the U in English is three. It's almost like three types in German. Du, sie und ihr. So du is like you in a singular form. Sie is you with respect in the formal way. This ear is something like if I want to say Priya and Ajal, you both fetch me a table and come back. If I'm going to say that, for instance, yeah, just an example. You both please go and bring the table in. Yeah, so we need two people to bring the table. So I'm just sending Ajal and Priya to get me a table. Then I would say, better bring in ihr, ihr, or I could say bitte bringen Sie, or I can say ihr bringt der Tisch jetzt, which means like, bring the table now. So there are three U's in German. This is the basic understanding you need to have, write down. And the first thing that you're going to see is the formal way, and the second is the informal way. When it comes to the plural form, we will see it quite a little later, not now, but I want you to know that there are three U in German. Yeah, it's not only one U, which is actually English language really makes it much, much easier in that way. So, if you see, when we say English is more spoken, it is also said that it is the most spoken just because it has a very simple language that can reach many people. Yeah. So that is one. And then coming back to our thing, yeah, wie heißt du und wie heißen Sie? Ich heiße Paul, ich bin Paul, mein Name ist Paul Müller, mein Vorname ist Paul, mein Nachname ist Müller. So this is what it is. And yes. So this is something that you can write it down because we have already written it down. If you have written it down, it's fine, but you can write it down in case if you want to write it. Just what I really want you to write definitely is Nama. Just put the heading Nama and then write down wie heißt du, wie heißen Sie. And in Malayalam or English, just write down one sentence. Do means informal you. Or you can say maybe da in Tamil it's da. What is it in Malayalam? I remember Ajil group when they said
It's also da, ma'am.
da only. Yeah, yeah, da. Okay. When I want to say you in the formal way, we say in Tamil it is ninga. How do you say?
We say like knee, just knee,
No, you in the formal way.
formal
But
way.
if I'm going to ask, ungal பெயர் என்ன? means like ungal is like really or tanga ungal
Yeah,
பெயர் என்ன,
Tangal.
which is like yeah in
Ningal.
very with respect. Uh-huh.
Tangal.
Ningal.
Tangal, ningal. What's the
Different.
difference between ningal and tangal?
But actually, it's really depend on the mood. I mean, pronunciation. Like we
Okay.
can use the same word in different situation, man. Like mingle is mingle, informal, but also we can use mingle in informal way also.
Oh, okay. The tone differs, right?
Yes, that
Is
all
that
different.
what? Okay,
Yeah.
that's nice. Yeah. So here as well, like it's not the tone, it's only the words differ. So it's easy for us to learn. It's never the tone at all. And Germans, they really don't depend on the tone. I totally understand where you're coming from, because sometimes I always feel our Indian languages has this tone as one of its component, which the German language doesn't have it. Yeah. So we has to we hyphen Z. Write it down, okay? And then we have addresser. We know how we say the addresser, but I would like you to see this, okay? Wie ist deine Adresse? Which is like, what's your address? And in the informal way and the formal way also, it's your address in English, but it is different in German. Wie ist ihre Adresse? Wie ist deine Adresse, which is informal. Wie ist ihre Adresse is formal. In Tamil, we say unnoda. Unnoda, it's like very colloquial. It's not like written Tamil, it's just spoken Tamil. We say unnoda, ungaloda. That nga, if that comes, it is like with respect. Yeah. Is it also in Malayalam like that? How will you ask what's your address in Malayalam in the formal way?
Tangled address.
Okay. And what's your address without respect?
Mingled address. I
Really?
mean, Ninde,
To a
Ninde
small
address.
boy?
Ninde address.
Ah, Ninde. Yeah, that's right. That's the difference between deine and ihre. Yeah, because English doesn't really come and help us in this way at all. It's only our own mother tongue which comes into picture. Deine und ihre. And I would like you to write down what is down. We will just have a, like, I'm going to give you like 2-3 minutes to write it down, because it is very, very important, where we will also write our own addresses right here to just see how can I write my address when somebody asks it, how can I say it, if at all there is a space right there in the form where to write what. Yeah. Take 5 minutes to write it down, and also just mute yourself and just read it for yourself. Wie heißen Sie? Wie heißt du? Wie ist deine Adresse? Wie ist Ihre Adresse? All the four questions loudly for yourself. Yeah, I'll be there in 2 minutes. Okay, so when we come to Adresse, then we can really think of saying wie ist deine Adresse und wie ist ihre Adresse. So when we somebody asks us, then we could say meine Adresse ist, and then you can say the street name, the number. What are all the things that we actually need to really tell our address is simple, right? The street name,
House number,
yeah. House number. Oops, I'm writing it in German. House number, then
postal code, pin code.
pin code. Yeah, that's it. So when you see the format of the German address is very different from the from our Indian system of addressing, where I say if I want to say it's my address is 25 Vivekananda Street or Nehru Street or whatever, okay, or 25 MG Road, Bangalore, whichever, and then we say Coimbatore, and then we have the pin code 641013 or something, and then you have maybe a landmark or something. Let's see about that. Here in German it is very different. It is like this: Vivekananda street 25. Then the post lights are the pin code comes in with in the front 60. Okay, wait. 641013. Then Coimbatore. This is the format of the German address. Yeah. So you need to know this. It's every time it is like this. Wherever you see, it is usually the street name, house number, pin code number, and then the place name. Yeah. So when we come back here to our slide, you will get to see that. Ich wohne in der Bergstraße. I'm just muting some people because I don't know, like it's like echoing for me. So I've just muted everyone for now. If you want to talk, please unmute yourself, okay? Yeah. So meine Adresse ist, and then I can say Bergstraße 17 53115 Bonn. Das ist alles. Bergstraße, Bergstraße means Straße, die Straße. We have learned about all the three articles, der, die und das. There are three articles in German, and anything, any noun you take in the world will come under these three articles. There are no rules. There are no rules for which article is which. It has to be just like either it comes through practice or sometimes we need to memorize it. There's a lot of memorizing that you need to do, just like make your mindset like that. Some things definitely you have to memorize. You can't escape out of it when it is German. But here it is like there is like certain things that you can understand. There are rules to understand. Some things are just said like that. Even my teacher, when I asked the same question, she would just say, no, I don't know why it comes, you have to just memorize. She would say that very clearly, because it is for a language, for a foreign language speaker or a beginner, it is always good if somebody can tell us, okay, this is because of this you have to memorize because we don't know. My teacher was very, very straight about that. And I also feel it's always good for me. It has always been good for me to learn the language right there in Germany, because the questions will be like, whenever you have a question, it would be answered in a very direct way, very honest way. If they don't know, they would say, no, I don't know. I have never known this, or I have never come across a question like this. I will come back and answer. They will discuss and then come back and tell us. So regardless of the rules, we have three articles: der, die und das. Der is for masculine, the male words. Femininum is die, die. In English, if you read, it's die. Yeah, but in German, it's always the other way around. Die, and the neutral ones are das. The very simple example, if I have to give you, it's der Mann, which means the man, die Frau, the woman, das Kind, the baby. Yeah, der Mann, die Frau, das Baby. So there are three genders. And anything, for instance, if you take the table, for instance, where I'm working, it is der Tisch. Then if I'm going to work on the computer, then I would say my computer is der Computer. Then I would say my windows just behind, then it is das Fenster. And the light that you see on the top, it is die Lampe. And maybe the toys that you see, it's like all my sons, then I would say das Spielzeug, the toys. Yeah. So any noun you take in German has a gender. And this is something like why are we bringing it here is it is Straße is die Straße. But when it comes in a sentence, sometimes the D changes into der. We will come back to that a little later. So only you need to know wie ist deine Adresse, and you have to write down the street name, house number, and the pin code of Deutsch is Postleitzahl, which means the postal code. Postleitzahl. Postleitzahl ist 53115. That's it. Then meine Telefonnummer oder Handynummer. Telefonnummer is usually the landline number and Handynummer is usually the mobile number. When we say meine Handynummer is 0, 0 is 0, 96009 This is my telephone number. You should be able to quickly say it because these are some things that you need to practice, practice, practice. Because if you're going to say what is up to you, like this is about your personal things, which is like the most important. So it's very important to get that right. So, ich wohne in der Vivekananda Straße. Die Nummer ist 50. Die Postleitzahl ist 64115. Meine Handynummer ist 09600900101. Done. This is the Adresse where you live. Then, yeah, the origin. How do we call origin? Origin is Herkunft. Herkunft means the origin. Where do you come from? Woher kommst du? And woher is a W question, which means where from. Woher kommst du? And the other way around, it is woher kommen Sie? Woher kommst du? Woher kommen Sie? Then it's given right there. Ich komme aus Berlin, aus Deutschland. When I say that, ich wohne in Berlin in Deutschland is I live in Berlin in Germany, which means Berlin in Germany. Ich komme aus der Türkei, the Turkey, or we can say the Türkische Länder, they say, the Turkey. Aus der Schweiz, which means Switzerland. Aus der Slowakei. Aus der Slowakei, Slovenia, Ukraine. Ich komme aus dem Iran, aus dem Libanon, aus dem Kongo, aus dem Jemen. Ich komme aus den USA, aus den Niederlanden. So this is something that you need to know. When it is India, then it is very easy. We don't have any articles that comes before. These, what you see in front of you are some of the countries with articles. India doesn't have an article. So it's very simple. When you want to say, ich komme aus Indien. Dubai also doesn't have an article. Ich komme aus Dubai. Ich komme aus Singapore. Ich komme aus, I would say, New Zealand, ich komme aus Australien. All these doesn't have articles. The only article words aus der Türkei, aus der Schweiz, aus der Slowakei, it's only these ones that you see. There are a few more which is very, very unpopular, so I'm not adding it into it. But only these things you should know. And why do you need to know? Because when you actually think about the classes in Germany, I had in my first class, I had 20 or 21 people coming from different places. Everyone coming from a different place. Even India, there were no Indians, I think. Like, yeah, no Indians. But the second group, we had one Indian who came from Calcutta. I couldn't speak Hindi. He couldn't speak Tamil. I couldn't speak Bengali. He couldn't speak Sanskrit. So there were so much of trouble. So we spoke in English. Yeah, finally. So that is what it is. And when you want to write down, of course, the lesson one in your Netzwerk book has everything. So we will start with the lesson one once you have the hard copy of the book. Definitely, I think you should have an hard copy so that we will start, marking, writing down answers, listening, all of that. And so it goes on well. Yeah. Don't have a soft copy, it is not going to work out. So just take a printout of the hard copy and keep it with you. Okay. Dann, wo wohnst du oder Wohnort? So we have seen Name, Adresse, Herkunft. All these words also you need to remember. Like, it is not this Herkunft zum Beispiel. It's a word which means the origin. So definitely you need to know that. For instance, ich komme aus Coimbatore, aber mein Großvater wohnt schon in Tirunelveli. So Tirunelveli is my origin. Forefathers, they were in Tirunelveli, and my mother's forefathers were in Madurai. So I've never been to these places very often, but definitely, my origin is somewhere there. So that is what it is. And yeah, yes, definitely. I think like do you have I will send you as asked, I will send you the link for the drive. All the materials are already there inside the drive. I can just send you the link for the drive. Just give me some time when you're copying or something. I will just put that into the box. But in case if I don't do that, please remind me at the end of the class so I can just like copy it and send it to you. Wo wohnst du? Wo wohnen Sie? Leben is to live. Wohnen is also to live. One second. Sorry. Thank you. So, wo wohnen Sie and wo wohnst du? And when we say wohnen is to live, leben is also to live, but usually we use wo wohnen Sie. Wo wohnst du? Yeah. So I would say ich lebe or ich wohne in Berlin, ich lebe or wohne in der Türkei, im Iran, in den USA, auf, auf Mallorca, auf Corsica, Berlin, or anything that you want to say, you can just say ich wohne in Indien, ich wohne in Deutschland, ich wohne in Polen. Polen is like Polen. That's what is Poland. Poland in German is Polen, like how Indian in German. Yeah. So you have in like the Germanized names for every country. We can say Australian, New Zealand, then Königreich, which means like the United Kingdom, USA,
Frankreich. Yeah.
Frankreich, they're good. Anything else? Need
Vienna.
Vienna, sehr good, Vienna. Mhm. And Italy, how do we say auf Deutsch? Italian. Italian, Spanien. Spanien is Spain. Brazilian. Americana. They say
Canada.
Americana. Canada, sehr good.
Canada.
Canada. Yeah, that's right. So that is the Wohnort. Coming back to the last. Yeah. This we have learned already, but I thought to bring it back. Wie alt bist du? Wann ist dein Geburtstag? Wann hast du Geburtstag? Wann und wo bist du geboren? All the things are just ways of asking when is your birthday. That's all. Wie alt bist du is how old are you? Wann ist dein Geburtstag? When is your birthday? Geburtstag. Yeah. Wann hast du Geburtstag? When do you have your birthday? Und wann und wo bist du geboren? Geboren is a verb which means to be born. Yeah. So then I can say, ich bin 36 Jahre alt. Ich bin am 12. Februar 1984 geboren. Ich bin im Chennai geboren. I was born in Chennai. I was not born in Coimbatore. So ich bin in Chennai geboren. Or ich habe am 12. Februar Geburtstag. Am 12. Februar habe ich Geburtstag. Anyway, there are so many ways of saying when you have your birthday. Mein Geburtstag ist im Februar. You can just, if you don't want to say the date, then we just like stick on to the month. That's all. Yeah. So your work is now to really just go through all the questions that you have. Ask questions to your partner, and your partner will answer you back and ask a different question. Zum Beispiel, if I'm going to ask Ajil, wie heißt du? Ajil, wie
Yes.
heißt du?
Uh, Sorry, ma'am, I didn't get it.
Wie heißt du?
Uh,
Can you
ich,
hear us?
yes, ma'am.
Mm.
Ich bin Ajil.
Okay, you ask me a question.
Uh, Wo wohnen Sie?
Ich wohne in Coimbatore. Wie ist deine Adresse? And it goes on. This is an
Oh,
example, okay? So I'm just going to give you some 10 minutes in the breakout room so you can just like look into. I'm just going to make two breakout rooms, three people each. Talk to each other, ask questions, and try saying the words again and again and again. Yeah. And just stick on to the questions that you feel comfortable, and ask the others, how do I say it? If you don't know, please ask the others, how do I say it? Yeah. Okay. You can come back after exactly 10 minutes, which is 4:54. So 10 minutes you have time to practice, and when you come back, if you have any questions, note it down and we can have a small discussion. Okay.
okay.